Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. And my guest today is Manuj Aggarwal, a thought leader and expert in the fields of artificial intelligence and startups who has impacted over 10 million lives and generated over $500 million in value. With experience working with clients like Microsoft and IBM, he has spoken at the UN alongside the Secretary General and Nobel Peace Prize winner, and his work has been mentioned by former President Obama and Bill Gates. With 4 patents in AI, he's the perfect person to learn from about how AI can benefit everyone. So Manuj, thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Excited to talk with you. Manuj, I want to start off by having you tell us the inspiring story of how you went from being on a low wage, from being a low wage worker in India, that's what I wanted to say, earning just $2 a day, to working with the top companies in the world. How did you bootstrap your dreams, and how long did it take you to turn your life around?
Well, this goes way back when I was 15 years of age, and growing up in India, it was a developing country back then. And so, growing up in a small town, you don't get a lot of opportunities for higher education or for career opportunities. So, that's what forced me into working in a factory. And even working in a factory, I got a lot of good experience about business, about how to scale things. But I also got inspiration to do something better with my life because it was such hard work. And so I thought to myself, there's got to be something more to life. And I didn't know what I needed to do to get there. What I understood, and this happened to me on a lunch break in the factory. I read some business magazines, and I read some inspiring stories of other entrepreneurs who had made it and built their empires. From there, I learned that you need a skill or something of value that you can bring to the world, and then you can improve your life. And so my search for that skill started, and I landed up on technology and software and programming, and I fell in love with technology, and I was really good at it as well. The first programming course I took, I think I was placed 7th overall rank in India, and so that really surprised me, and gave me the confidence to pursue it. And then there was a lot of ups and downs as my career started in technology. I came over to Canada. I got many jobs, and then I lost those jobs, not because of any other reason, but the environment around us, because a dot-com bust happened, and then September 11th happened, and then Gulf War started. So a lot of these external factors were controlling how my job situation was evolving, and so that forced me to reevaluate the job employment. And so I started my own company, consulting company, where I was doing exactly the same thing, but instead of working for an employer, provided my technology consulting to multiple companies. And through those experiences, I got to work with Microsoft and IBM and Pearson Education. I worked on some global projects. My company delivered very interesting projects on artificial intelligence, blockchain, in multiple industries: healthcare, education, real estate. And so all these experiences were a lot of fun a lot of impact was created. And it's basically, once you find your passion and you really want to excel at what you're doing, then I think things just sort of follow you, they fall in place. There's going to be ups and downs in life, but if you keep moving in that direction and stay consistent, then I think consistency is what gives you the results that you're looking for. A lot of people, they give up very early in the process when hardships come along. So that has been the journey, that has been my learning.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story. I always love hearing those success stories because, as you said, we all experience those ups and downs. And when you're in one of those downs, it feels like, how do I ever get out? How do I ever get to the other side? But it's so inspiring to hear from others who have done it and who
Mm,
have achieved success. So,
mm.
as an entrepreneur, what would you say is one big mindset shift that you believe is crucial for long-term success? And how has this mindset shift impacted your own entrepreneurial journey?
See, the biggest mindset shift in my journey, there are many, but I'll share a couple of them. One is that you always have to believe in yourself, no matter what other people say. A lot of people uh, don't know what is happening in our mind. We are not able to express our thoughts. We are not able to get buy-in, not just from external people, but even from our family members. So entrepreneurship sometimes can be a lonely game in that sense, right? It's not something that you can say, okay, you are enthusiastic about entrepreneurship, and your uh, spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend will be excited about it too. Your parents may not be excited about it too. So you really have to believe in what you are trying to do. And if you don't have that faith in your own, that conviction in your own self, then the world is going to quickly make you think like them. So you have to be ready to think different. Second thing is that I find that, and it used to be the case with me, I used to think that our skills, our experience, our technical know-how, that is what makes us valuable. But that works in the initial phase of your entrepreneurship. And I believe even in the initial phases you will find some problems. What really impacts entrepreneurship and our success is our relationships with other people.
Mm,
So
so
a
true.
lot of the times, especially in the technology sector, a lot of engineers are very introverted. I'm an introvert myself, and so it's very difficult for us to start having conversations when we go to networking events, when we uh, uh, meet other people. It's difficult for us to share our opinions, share our point of view, and then build a connection with other people. But that is one skill that I believe is the most powerful and valuable skill. So if you don't know technology, if you don't know marketing, if you don't know sales, if you don't know all of those things, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have faith in yourself and you develop a good communication skill to build relationship with others, that those two things will take you so far that you will not even recognize your life.
I love that. This
Mm,
really resonates with me because I'm an introvert too. And this
mm,
is what I found super, super difficult in the beginning, just putting yourself out there
mm,
and, the fear of being judged, the fear of
mm,
making a fool of yourself. And you're just like, huh? I'm still hiding in the early phases. I think that's what a lot of people do. They're still trying to hide because they feel so uncomfortable. But as you said, as you get better at developing those relationships, it gets
mm,
easier and easier to build
mm,
your
mm.
business.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And we already talked a little bit about the ups and downs. So, can you maybe share a significant failure or setback that you experienced and what important lessons you learned from that experience?
It's very much related to what I just said earlier. Relationships are the true wealth and success of life. And in my personal relationships, I've had quite a bit. bit of bad luck. I didn't have a very good relationship with my parents. I didn't have a very good relationship with my ex-wife. And the breaking point was when my firstborn child was born. I he could not connect with me. I could not connect with him. He won't come to me. So that was a very very difficult realization for me, that there is something inside me that is pushing all these adults away. And so it's, as adults, we are taught to self validate ourselves, and sort of as entrepreneurs, I said earlier, have faith in yourself. So it's a little bit contradictory. How can I have faith in myself and then not blame other people for my problems? But that's the gentle balance you have to maintain. You have to respect other people's opinions, but you also have to faith in yourself, and you need to recognize what makes you valuable for people to connect with you. So when I had this experience, when my son wouldn't connect with me, it led me to depression, and it led me to suicidal thoughts. But that also gave me the courage to find solutions. It led me to meditation. It led me to understanding the human mind, understanding neuroscience of how we create our own reality. How we, you were saying earlier that we are sometimes shy, we are worried about what people are going to think about us. These are all the emotions that come up when we are trying to overcome a challenge. And this experience, that was a very low point in my life, it actually helped me to find solutions and overcome that challenge.
Mm. Yeah, I totally agree that the self reflection part is so important for your
Mm,
business as well as for your personal life. And this kind of brings me to the next question I wanted to ask you,
mm,
which is, as a multi passionate entrepreneur and founder, how do you make sure that you stay happy and healthy and productive? What are the high performance habits that you attribute your success to?
mm. Well, I mean, a lot of it is my personal sort of journey. I teach these things to other entrepreneurs and founders who want to accelerate. But it's a combination of mental, physical, sort of a routine. I meditate every day. I do yoga every day. I take walks in nature every day. And a lot of ambitious people will listen to that and will say, oh, that sounds like some, like you're living a very relaxing life. It's almost like you're telling me not to work hard, um, and take it easy. But these things are very important, because success in terms of money and material success, um, you when you realize that money is basically energy, what you're doing is you're recycling energy. You're putting some energy out there in the world, which the world notices and rewards you for that. So these practices give you that internal energy that you can then go out there in the world and spread it, and then gain that material success. And then we do I do a lot of specific supplements that is in my routine, which helps with mental health, mental sort of development, physical health. All of these things combined are very very important. And then the last thing is sleep. A lot of people, especially in entrepreneurs, especially in technology startups, people tend to think, oh, I can pull off a 24-hour day, and then I'll take a little bit of rest tomorrow. But sleep is so important for success, because of the way that humans have evolved. You can see sleep is, we have been designed to sleep 8 hours a day, meaning evolution, nature decided that it is beneficial to spend one third of our lifetime sleeping. And and evolution never makes a mistake, right? So if evolution is saying that we have to dedicate one third of our life sleeping, there has to be a very very good reason behind it. And of course, I can go into those reasons because I have studied it deeply. But avoiding sleep is not a good recipe for success. So those are few things. Yeah.
This is so true. Sleep is
Mm.
one of the very important pillars. It's so important for mental health. It's so important for physical health. It's important for focus, for memory, for learning, for all the things. So listeners should really pay attention to this. When they think that they can sleep when they're dead, they might, they might end up dead before they
Yes,
know.
exactly.
Now, I saw that you're quite active on LinkedIn and that you have built a decent sized following there. What tips do you have for anyone out there who might want to grow their own LinkedIn network strategically and authentically, without spamming people or being
Mm.
annoying? So, which are the growth strategies that have worked best for you on that platform?
See, one thing is, my everything that we do in my company and my personal life, it is all related to your overall personality. So, even when we build technology, we study the humans who are using the technology. So, this idea about self-awareness, about understanding who you are, that comes first. So, I'll give you like a brief explanation of what this is. See, we all have some certain beliefs in our mind. We live through certain beliefs that we hold to be absolutely true. For example, for me, relationships are the key. Family is very important. I love to travel. So these are some of the beliefs or core values that I have, meaning family, adventure, curiosity. All of these things drive me as a human being. And there's a process we go through to find out what these core values are. And then what we do is, we as humans connect with each other when we share these core values. So let's say if I'm a family person, if I find another person who's passionate about family, we will get along very well. If I find another person who is interested in travel, we will get along very well, right? So the idea is that once we find these core values, these are the magnetic uh, magnetic points between humans that connect us together. So once you find out these core values, then the idea is you start sharing some stories about your life which highlight these core values. And these stories don't need to put you in the limelight. In fact, the more vulnerable you are, the more, like I shared about my incident about, getting depressed or suicidal. A lot of people may not be comfortable sharing these kind of things. But you can start not by sharing your deepest, darkest secrets, but you can start with sharing some uh, challenges you overcame, and you showcase your core value on how you overcome that challenge. You can share your experiences, whatever you can share about your personal life, because people want to peek inside your personal life, not your professional life. Like everybody says, oh, I'm the vice president of this, I'm the CEO of this. That gets buried very quickly because everybody's saying same thing. But if
Mhm.
you come across as as you said, authentic person sharing your core values, then you stand out. The next thing, as I said earlier, is consistency. So when you come across when you start becoming present on any social media platform like LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, um, you have to stay consistent. And consistency means whatever you are comfortable with. So let's say if you are on LinkedIn once a week, and that's all you can afford in terms of time, then just say to yourself, once a week I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this at this particular time, and I'm not going to deviate from that schedule. The problem happens when people say, okay, oh, I have 30 minutes free right now, let me do something on LinkedIn. And then they come back in 3 days, and then they do something on LinkedIn. And then they come back after 2 weeks, and then they do it. Like, that is never going to work. So you have to find your cadence, your frequency, and then do it again and again at the same cadence.
Right. That makes total sense. It's like with all the social media platforms, it's consistency authenticity. I don't know what's going on today.
Mm.
Authenticity and just sharing from your heart, finding the
Yeah.
core values to connect, which are the glue to
Mm.
the relationships, as you said.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
let's stay with the relationship building and growing an audience for a moment. But I don't know about you, but I find that podcasting is
Mm.
hands down the best medium for building real, genuine relationships with
Yeah.
amazing people from all over the world. And I
Yes.
know that you run your very own successful podcast too. And
Mhm.
I'd love to know what marketing strategies have worked best for you to grow your podcast audience. Is it all organic growth? Do you run ads? Do you post in engagement groups? Do you work with podcast promoters? How do you grow your show?
You know, I I wish I had a good answer for this, but I think my podcast just grew organically. One of the things that you have to do, when you will understand this by listening to these examples. So let's say a new book is coming out. Let's say Michelle Obama, who's known the world over. Everybody in the world knows who is Michelle Obama, right? When the book came out, she wrote a book. Even she had to go on many platforms to promote her book, on
Mm-hmm.
different podcasts, on different talk shows, on all everywhere. Even Michelle Obama had to go and talk about her book. So organic marketing is not something that is optional even for Michelle Obama, right? So if we are promoting our podcast or our book or our anything our business is offering, um, organic marketing is the best way. And so these conversations are deep conversations, so you get to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes with somebody, ask about their life, ask about all the wisdom they have collected over the 30, 40 years in their career. So that creates a very strong bond between two or three people who are conversing. And then you can take that conversation and split it into smaller parts and then share it with other people, because a lot of people may not be comfortable dedicating 30 minutes of their time listening to this conversation. But if they just listen to like 1 minute clip and they get a sense of, oh, this is something that resonates with me, then let me check out the full episode. That always works. So the idea is to share as much as possible, but also keep track of where you are getting traction. So because we used to share our podcast clips in engagement groups and things like that, but we found that those are just spam focused groups. Everybody's posting their own things, but nobody's actually interacting with it. So it's like everybody's selling but nobody's buying.
Exactly.
And so there is no point in that. So then you need to find a better place where you have some buyers, you have some sellers, you interact with them, you share what you have, and those relationships provide more traction. And then I have some other ways that we have marketed which work really well. We share those things with our clients, so who we help expand their business. So but I hope this was helpful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your tips.
Mm,
Now, let's switch gears and talk about artificial intelligence.
mm,
As we have seen over the last few months, at least, AI has the potential to really revolutionize whole industries. And it
mm,
feels like the new gold rush in the way that it's adopted and built into new businesses. So,
mhm.
what are some of the recent developments in AI that you are personally most excited about, and why?
AI, the interesting thing is AI has been around since the 70s. A lot of people don't realize it. I personally, my company and myself have been involved in AI related projects for the last 15 years. Um, Now, the recent sort of attention that AI has gotten is because of large language models, the platforms like ChatGPT and Bard and Bing. And so the reason why that it has gotten so much attention is because AI is now becoming democratized, and people can uh, play with it, they can work with it, they can get real meaningful output from it, with very little barrier to entry. Almost like these platforms are free, so you don't have to spend any money. They are very easy to use, so you don't have to have like a very solid computer science background to be able to work with it. So that's the most exciting part, because now the whole world can utilize AI, and we can start to use it, create new solutions. And this is just the beginning, because this will give rise to so many new innovations, so many new companies. So I'll share a few statistics with you. So IBM CEO has said that AI is going to add about $10 trillion, that's trillion with a T,
Whew.
um, to the world economy by 2030. Okay,
Wow.
so the world economy today is about $96 trillion. Okay, so that means in the next 7 years, just 7 years, AI is going to add more than 10% to the world GDP. Okay,
Wow.
the second statistics is from, or not statistic, quotation from Peter Diamandis and CEO of Google. They have said that by the turn of this decade, again 7 years, there's going to be two types of businesses. One that implement AI fully and embrace AI fully, and another one who are out of business. All right, so that is the magnitude of opportunity, and that is the magnitude of the consequences if people don't pay attention. But the exciting part is, AI is going to touch everything, it's going to disrupt everything. I predict there's going to be, within 5 years, there's going to be companies who are listed on public stock exchanges with just one employee.
Wow.
Okay.
So, yeah, in
Yeah.
your opinion, what is the most promising, or what are the most promising areas where AI can drive business growth and innovation in the near future? And how can entrepreneurs really capitalize on these opportunities?
See, our world is facing big problems. So, first thing that will happen with AI is hyper personalization. So, when you go to Amazon to purchase something, Amazon knows more about you, your buying habits, than you do, right?
Mhm.
And that is because of AI, because they are tracking a lot of data about you. That helps them to recommend you personalized products that you will find helpful or useful. So this concept will start going into all kinds of fields like education. So you'll start to get personalized degree programs, not cookie cutter degree programs that everybody takes. You'll start to get a personalized healthcare. So the doctors and the infrastructure will be built in such a way that one let's say if you want to go to a doctor, see a doctor, they will be able to create a new drug that is suitable for your genome, for your DNA, with 0% side effects using AI. So these kind of things will start to happen, right? Climate change, sustainability, so much opportunity in that, right? So look at these big names. Elon Musk, he found an opportunity to address sustainability and used AI to bring Tesla to the market.
Mm.
A lot of people think Tesla is a car company, but actually is an AI and data company. Okay, and
Wow.
that's how Tesla became the biggest car company in less than 15 years. In less than 15 years, Ford was started what, 1920s, so they have been around 100 years,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that is how you can see, model the behavior of people, where you can say, okay, how can I use AI and data to solve big problems in my industry? So there are so many big problems, and this is the path to become super rich in the next decade.
Yeah, I totally agree. And especially the especially the health field, the personalized health, this is
Hmm.
something that I'm super interested in, and I'm
Hmm.
really looking forward to seeing where this is going.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
not everyone is positively excited about the topic of AI, though. It
Hmm.
also raises like serious concerns about safety in general, the alignment problem, and
Hmm.
the ultimately the possibility of AI destroying mankind. So, what do
Hmm.
you think
Hmm.
about those doomsday scenarios, and how likely do you think they are?
Humans have been on this planet for millions of years. The modern humans have been on this planet 200,000 years, right? And we have always behaved in the same way. Whenever a new paradigm shift has happened, we have always reacted with fear and confusion. That is not new. Even when the printing press was invented, there was a lot of concern what will happen when people get information, when they know the truth. When the internet came along, many people may remember there was a big hysteria about Y2K, that Y2K is going to happen and we are going to run out of food in grocery stores, the banks are going to run out of money. So it's not new. Now with 5G, people saying, oh, it's going to cause cancer and whatnot. Now that is a typical sort of reaction. Now let's see why people are afraid of AI. One thing is that in Hollywood, people have not done a great job in portraying AI in a positive manner. So we have watched movies like Terminator, but we have also watched other movies about serial killers, or other aliens, or we don't believe those things, but somehow we tend to believe AI is going to kill us, right? Taking it one step further, even if I say, okay, maybe let's explore this idea. So uh, out of millions and millions of species on this planet, there's only one single species that wages organized war against each other, and that are human beings, right? So it's not in nature for nature to say, okay, now that you have become very powerful, go ahead and kill entire other species. And it's only humans we think this way, and that's why we think, oh, if AI becomes this powerful, its first order of business will be kill other people, because we think that way. And that's the funny part, right? Secondly, when we think about war or eliminating some other living being, it's not an act of war, but it's actually a generational trauma, a generational negative feeling that erupts in a lava, in a volcano. That's how it happens. That's how wars happen. It's not like somebody's born with a warlike mentality that they say, okay, I'm going to kill everybody. So if war is a result of multiple generations of trauma, if we have to think about AI in those terms, then you have to think about a human being or a company or a group of people who have to be 10 times more enlightened than the Buddha to be able to understand human condition, human emotions. What makes jealousy, what makes resentment, what makes hopelessness, what are these emotions, how do they originate, how do we feel them, right, in our psyche. And then you have to be 10 times more intelligent than the best computer scientist or Einstein to be able to take that knowledge and create computer code that AI will be able to understand, right, and act upon that. And then you'll have to be 10 times more evil than Hitler to say, now I have done this. I have figured out humanity. I have created an algorithm which can create these feelings of jealousy and insecurity and all that. And now I'm going to plant it into this AI and ask it to kill another species. And when I think about these things, it's highly unlikely, almost absurd, because people just don't realize other human beings and themselves, and that's why they project this fear onto this technology. That being said, I don't believe this is something that is that may not have any consequences, but those are far less extreme than what people say. Oh, AI is going to take away our jobs, or it's going to take away over humanity and whatnot. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, yes, it does. I mean, there's the fear of the new thing for sure,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I'm not sure about the like if it has to be evil. There's this the image or the concept of the paperclip maximizer, where
Mhm.
it doesn't care about humans, and it has just this one goal that it tries to achieve, and it just
Mhm.
doesn't care if it kills someone or not. So it doesn't really have to be evil.
See, in that case, we have to think about humans being powerful enough to control what they have created, right?
Exactly.
So, once again, I believe that people are thinking about AI as this living entity, as this autonomous animal that can act on its own. And maybe in the future there may be this paradigm that may happen, that AI behaves on its own. But the foreseeable future, all you need to do is unplug the computer, and it's it's gone basically, right?
Right. Now, even if you believe that AI is a net positive, could you just play devil's advocate for a moment? And can you argue that some of the concerns are really valid and should be
Mm.
investigated further?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's going to be, job displacement. Now, what is the magnitude of job displacement? How big it is? There are many estimates out there. I think Goldman Sachs published a report. Then they said, like, I think in the next 5 years we'll displace about 350 million jobs around the world, and that's a big number. But also, we need to think about that they will also create new jobs. But being a devil's advocate, what this may do is, if the governments don't handle this properly, if the employers don't handle this properly, this may cause socioeconomic unrest, because when so many people are out of work, we will need to find ways to give them meaning, give them purpose, give them means to raise their family. So that's one thing. Second thing is, without regulations, without some rules, some people may start using this technology for evil purposes, right? So
Mhm.
creating weapons, creating pathogens, creating like biological viruses, whatever it is, right? So those are real dangers as well. But at the same time, we need to think about this problem exists for every technology. And so we have to work as a society to do more good with this rather than bad, and then build those real rules and regulations, so that people who have ill intentions, they can be we can counter their efforts by doing good with this technology.
Yes, for sure. I want to dig deeper into some of the things that you mentioned. Now, for the job losses, do you think there will be certain industries that will be hit harder? And which industries do you think will be impacted more positively, and which will be impacted more negatively by AI in the near future?
Okay, so let me first, preface my answer by saying this notion of negative and positive is a short-term view, because what will happen is that, let's say the definition of work itself changes, then overall it will be a positive change. Make sense? So
Hmm.
let's say today we are working, our standard of living is we are working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. But let's say tomorrow AI takes over, and we only need to work 10 hours a day, or 10 hours a week, because we are as much productive. Then in the short term we'll say, oh, we have been negatively impacted. But in
Hmm.
the long term, it will be a positive change, right?
That's
that being
true.
said that being said, I believe wherever we have like automated mundane tasks, those industries will be impacted the most. I believe, for example, driving. I believe in the next 15 years, it will be illegal for humans to drive on the road.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yes. So, driving jobs, there are millions and millions of driving jobs in the world. In the US alone, it's 10 million jobs. Those will be eliminated, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the second part of the question is which industries will benefit the most? I believe when machines are so intelligent, like literally AI has an IQ of 1,000. There is no way for human beings to compete at an intellectual level with a machine anymore. So what will become more important is our emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm.
Our ability to listen to people, our ability to empathize with their situation, understand exactly what they are trying to do. So customer service, providing wherever there is a human touch, financial planners, or uh, you know um, uh, anything where a human needs to sit down with another human, tell them what they are looking for, tell them their story, tell them their desires, that only another human can understand. So if I go to a doctor and I say, or I go to a therapist, I say, hey, I want to get better because I'm having these suicidal thoughts. If I don't get better, I won't see my kids graduate. And that feeling, another human can understand what it feels to see my child graduate. A machine will never be able to understand that.
That's true. It can pretend to understand it though.
Exactly. It can pretend, but but just like, we can buy a print of Mona Lisa, but there's only one Mona Lisa,
That's true. Yeah.
right? So that will become more valuable. So wherever people can develop their communication skills, and this goes back to right at the beginning of our conversation, where relationships and communication, we said, was important. Now with AI becoming prevalent, it will become even more important.
That's a good point. Another thing that I wanted to come back to was something you mentioned, like the things that can go wrong, like scams could be made so much easier, or it's like one of the things that I just read about is all those content farms that post hundreds or even thousands of AI generated articles every day and just make money through those automatic ads on those sites. And I think this is probably most problematic for the big companies out there that spend a lot of money on things like Google ads and might now find that their ROI is just decreasing quite a bit because their ads are automatically shown on those low quality websites, which can obviously damage their reputation as well. But I was wondering if you have any advice for those companies who rely on paid ads, especially Google ads, what they can do to counteract those negative consequences.
See, the thing is that we hear about these stories about content farms and all of that stuff. I don't think there is a lot of truth in that, because I understand how AI works, how the internet works, and not to say like other people don't, but I'm going into that in deeper a little bit here, uh, because people think that just publishing content is a way to make money, but they fail to understand that when they publish the content, everything else that processes the content is also AI. So Google is AI, right?
Mhm.
So now what you're doing is you're saying to uh, Google that, hey, I'm going to feed your AI my AI and let it fight it out. And do you think that you, as an AI novice, are smarter than Google's AI? And moreover, even if you publish a million articles a day, the time span of the entire the eyeballs that you can grab is still finite, because you will not be able to list those million articles on Google's first page at all. So what Google is going to do is going to show people the quality web
Mhm.
pages, relevant web pages. So if you're just publishing content which is available on 100 different websites, it's not going to really uh, get you anywhere. It's not going to impact anything. uh, so once again here, if you come up with real relevant content, if you infuse your personality, if you talk about your life journey, your experiences, that is something unique to you. And you can use AI to even generate that content, but you will not be able to like create millions and millions of articles because your life journey is also finite. But if you infuse that personality, if you make an effort to infuse that personality, even if you're using AI, then you will be fine. If you're running ads, talking authentically about what you do for other people, how you serve them, what is your experience, what are your credentials, then it'll be fine. Because AI's job is to, I mean, in this particular case, AI's job is to separate out the fluff from the real content. Why do you think Google became so powerful? Yahoo was the biggest search engine before Google came along. And then there were so many other search engines before Google came along. The key to Google's success is that they understand what is useful and what is not useful for human beings.
Right. So
Right?
you're not worried about any kind of content farms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, content farms, they may scrape by, they may make a few dollars here and there, but um, if you think they had the power to overcome Google's challenge, that would have happened long time ago. And content farms are very, very basic way of making money. There are people with billions and billions of dollars. I mean, if this was possible, don't you think Microsoft would have invested a few $1 billion and overtaken Google? They'll be happy to do that, right? They're dying to take over Google, right?
Uh-huh. Now, as we've already mentioned, ethical considerations become increasingly important. So, what ethical guidelines and principles should entrepreneurs follow when they develop and deploy those AI technologies, especially in, say, sensitive domains such as finance or healthcare?
See, ethics should be not just a conversation about AI. It should be conversation all around in entrepreneurship. Now, the thing about AI is that it has some limitations. It has biases. It has limitations in terms of how much it knows. So when it doesn't know something, it can create 5 to 10% of cases where it just makes things up or gives you wrong answer. So the ethics revolve around understanding this technology first, and then saying to ourselves that we will use AI but verify before we implement this solution in the real world. We will verify that it is not biased against people. We will verify that it is not giving us wrong information. There have been news stories where lawyers have used AI to create their legal cases, and it turned out that those legal cases were based on false arguments, and these lawyers got in trouble because of that, right? So these ethics are all around understanding the technology, understanding the implications of what you're trying to do, and making sure you verify that those ethics are not violated just because you are able to use AI and move faster, you become more productive, become more creative. In that sense, ethics are very, very important. And then the last thing I will say is, as entrepreneurs, as leaders in this space, another cause of concern is not to leave out people who don't understand this technology. So that is the fundamental reason why we create inequality in our society, because when we become good at something, we just use it to our advantage and we forget about other people. So if you are an employer, get your employees engaged in the conversation about AI, how you are going to implement it in your company, how you are going to make sure that there's not going to lead to mass layoffs, but more productivity, more enjoyment, more fulfillment in the jobs. So if you include other people in that conversation, that will be a really good thing.
Those are good points. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, in today's fast-paced tech landscape, how do you personally stay updated on the latest trends and technologies, and how do you determine which ones are worth investing your time and resources in?
Again, the key is to just continue to talk to people. What I tell people is, as entrepreneurs, l- dedicate 25 to 50% of your time talking to people, networking, asking questions. And when I say networking, not just saying what you know. A lot of people think talking to people is actually talking, but talking to people means actually listening. So spend 25 to 50% of your time overall schedule talking to people. When you're talking to people, spend 80% of your time listening to people,
Mhm.
asking the question, then shut up and listen. And when you listen, all that information that needs to come to you, it magically starts to come to you automatically. And you start to put all these Lego pieces together that, oh, I talked to this person yesterday and they were talking about AI. And I talked to a lawyer today and they are talking about AI. Oh, I talked to a doctor today and they are talking about AI. I got three people in 3 days talking to me about AI. That means, there is something happening in AI. So let me look into this, right? So those
Mhm.
are the patterns, and our minds are hardwired to notice these patterns. If you just listen, you will just start noticing all these things happening in the world, and you don't really need anything else. But if you do want to supplement it, go to your favorite news site, go subscribe to your favorite newsletter, follow the best people that resonate with you on social media, listen to the podcast that resonate with you. But these are not at all substitute for talking to real people.
Sounds to me like everyone should have a podcast where they talk to
Yes,
people a lot.
yes, exactly.
Before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today that we haven't touched on so far?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground, but the main idea is that life can give you everything that you ever wished for. You just need the right direction and the right guidance and the right systems in place. So, and once you have that in place, everything sort of works out.
Sounds perfect. So, last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they would like to learn more about you or connect with you?
Yeah, the best place is find me on LinkedIn. Let me know you heard me on this podcast. Let me know a little bit about what you're trying to do and how we can help you get there.
Awesome. Manush, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Take care and talk soon. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. That's a fantastic, easy, and zero-cost way to help the show grow. Just use the link in the show notes and make my day. If you'd like to take it one step further, you can now join my inner circle and become an official supporter of the Wired for Success podcast. Supporting the show is super simple and will only take about 30 seconds. Basically, it works like any other paid subscription. All you have to do is to go to glow.fm/Wired for Success podcast, pay $5 per month or as much or as little as you like, and choose the link of the podcast player you want to use. You can listen anywhere in any app. So for less than the price of 1 to 2 fancy coffees per month, you can really make a difference and help me keep this show awesome. For more tips and info, check out my website at wiredforsuccess.solutions. Thanks a ton and talk to you soon.